Yep, we are live.
Okay, hello, people who aren't here yet. This is our first hangout, I guess, and joining me is Jim Goebel, kind of my Google Hangouts mentor to guide me through all of this. He's with the Side Project Live, and I guess we're going to see who shows up now. I thought people could actually show up before you actually started the hangout.
No. Well, you can invite them before you go live, but I don't think you can go public before that.
Let me go ahead and see if I can go public. Invite public. Unable to invite public or extended circles.
Does it tell you why?
Nope.
I'm
just going to put in. All right, that should get. I think that got a whole bunch of them. I have one that I think is on my YouTube subscribers, so they should be able to get in now. Skype. I'm trying to let people know on Skype that it's available, and I started typing, but for some reason, when I go back to Skype and start typing, it starts typing in the search box for some reason instead of actually type in the chat where you would think that normal people want to type. But anyway, bad mouthing Skype on Google Plus Hangouts. I guess that's.
Oh, are you doing this? Are you doing this? Are you doing this through YouTube or Google Plus?
Google Plus, I think.
Okay, well, that should.
But it's hooked to my YouTube, so it should be. Yeah.
I think here. It says you cannot invite public into the Hangout on air as participants, but you can as audience. And you can share the link to the resulting video as broadly as you like.
Okay,
so you can invite individual people, but you can't invite the public.
Okay.
Which makes sense because I think you can only have 10 people on a Hangout on air at a time.
Okay. So I shouldn't have invited all 235 of my top YouTube subscribers.
Oops.
All right.
Okay, I'll go for next time. I'll make a list for Bogosity co-hosts and things like that.
All right. Well, hello. Y'all hear me?
Hey, how you doing? I can actually see you, live video and everything.
Yeah. Well, I've been.
You look better than your avatar.
Yes, it does. Oh, yes. Thank you.
Shane, one other thing you can do with Hangouts, you see at the bottom of the screen there where you've got Charles, yourself, and me down there. Yep. You can actually act as director by clicking on any of them, and then whoever you have clicked on, their image will come to the screen.
Okay.
The video is added automatically to your YouTube account once the Hangout's over.
Okay.
So you have control over the cameras, which I think is neat. I kind of wish they could do it where you could just press a button on your keyboard. Because I think that's a little quickly, but
yeah. I've got the control. I can mute Charles if I have to, because sometimes I have to do that when he gets going.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, I just turned on the light so you have better lighting.
Oh, I can see you now.
Uh,
turn it back off.
One other thing, real quick. If you noticed, if you hover over somebody's image there on the bottom, there's a little drop-down arrow.
Yeah.
If you click that, you can also mute them from there as well.
Ah, okay.
So you got 3 spots you can mute them, but the easiest thing is just to use the control room.
Does that kick them out on their keysters if I hit eject?
Yes. Yes.
That's
important.
See, I have the power. You guys better be nice to me.
I have the power.
I actually I want to do more stuff on my channel like this, because I want to do live, do season rounds type stuff, but I just can't figure out a way to jiggy rig the whole, playing music and everything else and recording, and my PC is not that powerful, so. That's why I just use my MP3s and such. So yeah. Whew. So oh, looks like there's supposedly there's Harriet Tubman, if you want to talk about news and whatever. Looks like she's going to. Some say that she wants to be a possible face on the $20 bill, which I have no problem.
Oh, cool. She's one of my heroes.
Yeah, mine too. You know, sadly, most people in my generation don't know about her. In fact, they don't know anything about anything. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really remember
government
much
school
about it, but then
educated,
again, I
you have
don't
to give
remember
them a
waking
break.
up this morning. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can I see who my viewers are?
It actually will not tell you who your viewers are, but it should give you a number of viewers, and it should be right on the main screen.
Yeah, I see 4 viewers.
Okay. I don't think it'll tell you exactly who's viewing you.
Can they
But
type
what you
in the
can
chat
do
room?
is you can ask. Did you have the Q&A turned on when you started the Hangout?
Yes.
Okay. If you go ahead and if you go into the Q&A screen, you can tell everybody to, hey, if you're watching, let me know who you are through the Q&A or something like that.
Okay. How do I do that?
Just click the Q&A button.
Yeah, I'm there.
Once again, it'll load the Q&A app to the right, and then just ask through your microphone. Hey, if you're watching, why don't you send me a confirmation through the Q&A? Or I think they can also do a message actually as well. That's the top icon on the left-hand screen as well.
I don't have anything like that. I have a blue box. It says ask your audience.
Blue box is chat.
Yeah, blue box is the chat, and the Q&A things right
see,
here.
when I click on chat, all I see is white, and then I see to list all available commands, blah, blah, blah. I click on Q&A, and I get the blue box, ask your audience to submit questions, and they will appear below.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right, but I don't see a place where I can actually ask them.
No, you ask them through the. You don't type it in. You ask them like you're talking to somebody in real life.
Okay.
Well, let's see. Again, I said, Harry Tubman is going to be on tour. Look, then again, I'd rather have her than Andrew Jackson because I know he did things for the banks or that, but the genocide thing, that's just
the whole Trail of Tears thing is kind of a deal breaker.
Yeah, sadly, no one my generation don't even know about that either. Great public school education. Can't be.
You know who was on the $10,000 bill?
Oh, I saw that once. I don't remember who it was.
Salmon P. Chase. He was the head of the Federal Reserve at the time the $10,000 bill was.
What wasn't it made for one specific purpose? I mean, it wasn't ever meant to be a lasting thing. They just needed $10,000 bills or something.
It was only meant to go between reserve banks. It was never really in public circulation.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't just flash that around because I don't know unless you're maybe a entertainer or a banker or whatever. I don't think it's gonna be made like someone like me or you, Shane.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I do see some entertainers would probably go for that just to see. Yeah, here's my 10,000 bill. There it is. Boom, you're done. That's it.
Did you see that thing in the news? I think it was last week. The thing in the news last week. Check for
you're breaking up there,
$53
Jim.
billion. What's that?
You're breaking up.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. Did you see the thing in the news? It was last week or the week before where the guy tried cashing a check for $53 billion?
No, I missed that.
Oh yeah, I think I heard that from I think a web show called Live What F is Wrong with You, hosted by I think Nash Bozard and over guys from Channel. So they're really funny stuff, stories about this stuff, including the story about that Texas governor. Now you know what I'm talking about, right? The Texas governor who wants the eye on the. Yeah, I think one of them wanted his eyes on the United States military to because that whole training craziness that was going on last week. That's like we're gonna have the National Guard look over the United States military.
They're really goofy in Texas.
I have friends there, and they're like, I talked to them. They said, look, I just live here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to get them out voting, but it's like it's a Republican-held thing. It's just like it's like it's like dealing with Cowboy fans down there, just grin and bear it.
All right, it looks
Again,
like there's a little confusion from the participants. We have Victor Volkman and Evan Robertson in the Q&A, both of whom are patrons, by the way, so thanks, guys, pretty much. It looks like they were thinking that it might be a chat, but yeah, Victor, I think it is exclusive to questions, so they can actually go into the chat, can't they, or do I have to click the chat to get the chat room going?
You know what? That's actually a good question. I know that when I'm in a hangout on air and I'm one of the participants, I know I can chat between you and Charles, and but I don't know if they can actually chat with us other than through the Q&A.
All right, I just typed something into the chat room, so I guess they can let us know if they see it or not.
Let's see. All right.
So Shane, I see you know Thomas Hill.
Oh yeah. He used to be with the Libertarian Party of Cabarrus County, just kind of down the road from me.
Because I know him too. I was actually up at him and Julie Fox's house. I think it was last year for the 4th. They had a thing up there in North Barrington.
Yeah, I haven't been up where they are now.
But yeah, I was kind of, when I saw that you were a friend with him before we friended on Facebook, I'm like thinking small freaking world.
Yeah, well,
craziness, man.
He's a great guy. I like him.
He is. He's a sweetheart.
It's weird, because the funny thing is, the way I met Shane or heard about his videos was through, I think, Thunderfoot, and his video, I think, was against, what's the YouTube name? How the World Works.
Oh, yeah.
And I was very, what are you doing? Actually from Maryland, by the way. I believe it or not. I just found that out a couple years ago. And when I first saw him, I was like, because I was still in my left going to Democrat stuff because, I was raised mostly by Democrat and everything else. And, I always was, even though, we got Travis. Hi, Travis.
Oh, hi, Travis.
Travis.
Anyway, that was because even if I was a Democrat back in those days, I still was like you always listen to see good ideas. And then I first heard about this, and I was like, oh, this is Shane Killian. I saw one of his video responses. And I was like, this is interesting. And then I think it was the racism. This is the years before, back in the days where they actually had, video responses. When YouTube had those, and sadly they got rid of them because they didn't know how to market it well enough. But hey,
yeah, why
you can't just turn this thing into...
Why should we do that? Why should we actually have a community?
Yeah,
so,
I don't want to turn this into a big...
Charles, where are you from?
Maryland.
Actually, okay, you just said Maryland. Okay.
Yeah, born in Texas, and raised in Maryland. And was my dad is conservative a little bit, but mostly because he's like one of the few smart ones, conservatives. But yeah, he's like he sees the Conservative Party and he just like shakes his head and just like, what is going on? And such.
Pity me, I was born and still live in Illinois.
Oh.
Hey Travis, we'll see what you look like.
Hi Travis.
Hey man.
That you do.
Hey man. Another Marylander, right?
Yep, that I am.
And I know we're not going to have Dave Turcotte tonight because it's his birthday and he's off doing birthday stuff. So happy birthday.
Oh, that's right. I did see that on his Facebook page.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
You know what my birthday is? You know what my birthday is?
Let me go ahead
September 11th.
Oh no!
Conspiracy theorists love me because of my last name. I always, when I get into an argument with a conspiracy theorist, they always make the obligatory Hitler reference because of my last name, which is Goebel. And then there's the September 11th thing. At one point, I was seriously thinking of becoming a Freemason. Almost accepted a job with a local nuclear power plant, and I currently work for the largest drugstore chain in the country. So they kind of love it.
Yeah,
there's Blame the First we see, and I want to clear up some confusion. As I said a few minutes ago, but I don't think Blame the First was on then. That's actually not the chat. That's a Q&A. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I can clear out these questions, because that's where you actually type questions that I'll answer at some point. And I'll give priority to the patrons, but you can go ahead and do that there. But there is a chat. I'm not really sure how you get there, but...
are you doing this from YouTube or just Google Plus? Because you could do it from your YouTube channel.
Well, it's like a separate Google Hangouts window.
Yeah, right.
I found
because you can't do it from
Travis
YouTube.
is there in the chat room.
So, hey, Travis, but honestly,
not actually on the screen. Type in the chat room. I mean, that's like generally the point of it. It's like you have like 4 or 5 people on screen, and then 20 million people in the chat room, and you can watch the chat scrolling by.
Like Twitch. Which honestly, man, I need to start doing live streaming again because I did it once. I had fun, but man, it is hard to do. It's hard to do to play the game and try to actually have a decent conversation.
Twitch or whatever that site is that I think like Dave uses, I think it's a lot more intuitive than this. This one, it's like,
you know, was it 2 weeks ago?
How do I get to the video window? Oh, crap! How do I get to the chat? It's like it's kind of a mess.
2 weeks ago, I actually tried doing a Google Hangout on air when I was on my bicycle. I had my cell phone mounted to the stem of my bicycle, but I had to come in here in my bedroom and start the Hangout on air because you can't do that from your phone. And then I took my podcast account and logged on to the Hangout on air from my phone, and that was kind of a cluster.
Yeah, Blame the First is wondering where the chat room is on my screen. Like you have that screen with a talk balloon and it says Q&A.
Oh, wait. You did this on YouTube. Oh, okay.
Oh, you're doing this on YouTube?
Let me just... Yeah, because it is live on YouTube. So maybe... Okay, let's go on... Okay, let me try to use my old friend Google to...
Well, anyway, what I have on my screen is it's like 3 above that Q&A window, and it's like a blue talk bubble inside a gray talk bubble type thing. So look up from there and see if you can find it.
Okay. Chat. Okay. I'm looking at some Cassie videos.
And if anyone else is trying to get into the chat and can't get there, just post it in the Q&A and I'll see it.
All right.
I hate that you can't have these up at the same time.
Oh, by the way, speaking of conspiracy theorists, Mr. Goebel and such, it is the one thing that it frustrates me about the whole thing is that because these people, they see what what the governments or whatever they're doing, they see something's wrong, but they go on this crazy tangent that doesn't really connect to anything. It's like they're like, oh, government's doing bad things, but they're doing something completely unrelated. I'm like, they just feel like feel that they need to have evil order. They want to have like everything is controlled, which sadly it isn't. Life is not like that black and white, which sadly it isn't. It's it just seems like these guys.
Where the heck is the YouTube link for this?
Oh, okay. Wait a second. Let me.
Hang on. Live events.
Live events.
There we go. Okay.
There it is. Live events and crap. Sorry. There it is. I actually have you're on the YouTube page and everything else. So, there you can do here.
Hey, it worked.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
No, it didn't work.
Yes, Evan, supposedly there's a chat. We're trying to find it, and hey, you can get
there's wait a second. Let me just use my little thing here. History. Because when I did one way back in the day of Hangouts and such.
Did you come to the YouTube link there, Charles?
Huh?
Did you come here via the YouTube link?
No, I came here by the Google Plus thing.
I think if you come here by Google Plus, it's that first button up there at the top.
On the I've never really been actually watched a Hangout on air. I've usually directed them, but I noticed on the YouTube page there's a link on the video, on the live video. It says, "Be part of the conversation. Click here to join the audience for this Hangout."
Yes,
so
there
I'm
it
wondering
is.
if maybe Yeah.
That's probably it. I think that's probably the way to get people here. I've seen there's two ways to do it. There's actually one of there's like one you have the chat room right there, white screen and everything else. I see some, and then you just click like what you said, click the thing right here, and you're a part of the conversation. You get into the chat room and answer everything else. So yeah, I think we got that situated. And if not, well, you can see there's live events. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can do what. I'm looking at anything I can to see if anything I can help with. And now I'm ranting.
Can I just say that the documentation for Google Hangouts is horrible?
It's overcomplicating a problem that didn't need to be overcomplicated.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
All right, so I don't know about the chat room, but the way the Q&A works, which a lot of you seem to have found a lot easier than the chat room, is you can type in a question, and then I believe what happens is I select that question, and you actually come on the camera and the microphone, and we can talk to you directly. So if you want to go ahead and
actually, I don't. It doesn't work like that.
Oh, it doesn't?
What it is that you address the question, and then you just click it when you're done asking it. And I believe that when you look at the video later on YouTube after it's been uploaded, it'll show the question on the bottom of the screen, and it'll say something like "question currently being answered" or something like that.
See, that wasn't what I was reading.
Wait, let's see. Okay, now I'm on YouTube. Help, and I'm saying okay. Let's see.
Work in progress, folks.
Yada, yada, yada. It is. Eventually, we'll get everything right. Okay, moderate live chat on the. Let's see how to do it.
And Chris Hangartner is trying to join us, and it won't let him install the plugin, the Hangouts plugin.
Because Okay. Wait. It says enable live chat. Shane, do you see anything appear to the right of your video player only when your event is active? This is from the YouTube thing. How to get live chat. You're streaming live from YouTube, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And I'm on the YouTube help thing. It says how to do live streaming, live chat. It says live chat is enabled by default. To disable the live chat, navigate to edit basic info advanced settings. For your schedule event in Video Manager. Under chat, uncheck live chat. I think it's somewhere in there. You have to go to edit basic info and advanced settings.
I don't see anything like that in chat.
Are you sure? It says on YouTube. Because if you are doing this on YouTube.
Hey Shane, am I online?
Hey Chris, you made it here, yeah.
Finally! Sorry, computer problems.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out the chat room now.
Yeah,
people have found the Q&A, but we're trying to get everyone in the chat room.
That's what I'm doing the whole chat thing myself. I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
It says that's what the
Hopefully the next one will go much smoother.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry,
The first one's always a cluster.
Let's just say I was saying a lot of naughty words. Yeah, earlier.
But yeah, it's again, you have to do enable live chat from YouTube. That's what you have.
Enable live chat from YouTube? Could they possibly make this any?
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Sorry if you guys can't. Sorry if you guys can't see my.
Do I have to do that, or do they have?
Yeah, that's what you have to do that, Shane. You have to.
I have to do that.
I'll give you the link.
Okay.
To show you how to do this, because I'll see, here it is. Here, that's how you do it from YouTube. And it'll be, because trust me, I tried. I do this and it's so confusing. And then it's the simplest thing, and you just sit there like, how did I forget about this?
This is totally not how I would have designed this.
Yeah. Did you get the link yet, man?
I haven't gotten any link. Where'd you paste it? Oh, there it is.
Oh, well, that's good.
Okay.
Well, anyway, back to my, trying to find some type of sympathy for the conspiracy theaters stuff. I do find some sympathy in them. I mean, they do have something of being critical, and something that we should be more critical of, like government stuff. But once they go on the tangent, it just kills everything dead, and people just like, we don't want to listen to your stuff. That's the problem. Am
Okay,
I
what
wrong?
exactly.
were we talking about? Because I'm new here. What were we talking about? Sorry.
Conspiracy theories and
Oh.
theorists and
This,
how
this,
they
and
screw
that.
up the
No,
debates.
no formal subject.
Oh, like the moon landing hoaxers.
You can
That's
actually
the worst
make-
one.
What kind of kills it for me with the conspiracy theory is I mean, it's like when you look at the I don't know, like economic studies and realize how, I mean, they don't even try to like completely deny it. They just, you know, sideline it out. But if you actually look at the studies like minimum wage, for example, how it's like 85% of the research showing that minimum wage has negative effects, and the others being effect size too small to have been noticed, like it didn't reach statistical significance or whatever. I mean, when you look at that, how that basic thing, how they can't even be super conspiratorial, make it crazy with that, and yet something as basic and important as that, and you realize, I mean, it just completely kills any sense of wonder of their ability to do it with the rest of the stuff. It's just a house of cards from there.
Well, as I like to tell them, as I like to say, there's more evil in 30 minutes of C-SPAN than there is in everything the conspiracy movement has ever done. And the stuff on C-SPAN is right in front of your face, right in the open.
I mean,
yeah, but then again, you know,
it's like
there are people out there who look at Alex Jones who make millions of dollars.
What's going on?
Who make millions. I mean, I look at this, man. Alex Jones makes over $5 million. You know, which I just heard about this a year for doing the stuff on YouTube, the conspiracy stuff. And yet there are people who are saying Alex Jones is in on the conspiracy. They
Yeah.
say he's part of it too. I'm like,
That's so hilarious. That's so hilarious. Every time you debunk a conspiracy theory, you're part of the conspiracy. I wish I was being paid by the CIA to defend Israel.
So all of his false flags are themselves false flags.
Hey, I for one welcome our reptilian overlords.
That one South Park episode, how they're like,
Inception.
Basically, it's like that one South Park episode, how they're like, yes, that's right, the 9/11 conspiracy is a conspiracy.
The only conspiracy on 9/11 is my
I love
parents
South
conspired 9 months before to have me.
yeah. I think when I would say this, what Penn Jillette said about I think Penn Jillette said it best on his show, Bullshit. He said this. He says, "It is wise people said this though. It takes sometimes a little this, you know, a little. It's like this. Something so small and tiny can destroy something so mean, and something so tiny and mean can destroy something big and beautiful." And he pops a balloon. You know, something like that to express like some things happen. These random things happen.
Can I say
and that's scary. And that's the most scary thing at all because honestly, if you can't tell people that, you know, sometimes people do these things and there's no order or anything else, that scares them. That terrifies them. They need to have either order.
I like how they'll go off. Well, how can 2 airplanes destroy 3 buildings? And you respond to that, well, how can 1 bowling ball knock down 10 pins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Hey, can
first
you guys hear me?
how they're all like, well,
Yeah.
I can hear
Okay.
you.
still be
Yeah. I'm wondering if my
kinda
mic's broken.
We kind of got anarchy here.
Oh yeah. But anyway,
It's a libertarian chat. What do you expect?
Can I mention something about the JFK conspiracy? It's funny because I was talking with a friend about the JFK conspiracy, and we were watching a video, and there were so many people saying, you know what I don't get about the JFK assassination? How could one guy snipe a person from that distance? That's impossible. And if anyone does any study on Lee Harvey Oswald's background, anyone would know he was a former Marine and he was a sniper. That's how he got trained.
Hell, on
he was
bullshit,
actually
Penn and Teller debunked that.
Yeah.
He was actually a really good sniper, and he was actually off his game that day because there are plenty of times that, Victor, I have no idea about the chat. You guys feel free to type in the Q&A, and I'll keep an eye on what's going on there. I have no idea what's going on with the chat. But it was like something like, I forget the exact numbers, but it's like at that distance he could hit the target like 53 out of 55 times or something like that. And one of his 3 shots on the day he killed JFK missed.
Oh yeah, one of them did.
2 out of 3. He was off his game that day.
He fired 3 shots. One hit the back of the car, the other one struck Kennedy in the throat, and the third one blasted his head off.
Exactly. And I think Penn Jillette showed us like saying, oh, it takes 12 to 10 seconds. He said, and he proved it. Says this, cock and fire, cock and fire. It took him like what? Like
3 seconds.
3 seconds. And he had no military training.
Yeah.
So
what
what do you think
people do is they talk about the 3 shots as if it's the whole thing. Cock, aim, fire, cock, aim, fire, cock, aim, fire. But when they time it, it's from the first fire to the third fire. So you don't start with the cock, aim. You start the clock at the first fire, cock, aim, fire, fire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the time.
No, that's what it is.
Yeah, and it's funny because people say, but Penn didn't account for the recoil. Well, here's the thing. I'm a gun nut, and I know the weapon that Lee Harvey Oswald used, which was an Italian Mannlicher Carcano rifle, and that rifle was famous or in some cases infamous for having a very low recoil. So...
And that was the rifle he trained with in the Marines.
No, I think
he was familiar.
Well, I'm pretty sure he would have used, a different rifle, but yeah, it's similar rifles. Marines use bolt action rifles. It's similar, so it's pretty similar. Anyone with marksmanship training can make that shot if they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think actually one of the
does
people.
Anyone know what his motivation for doing the shooting was? Like, why do you?
I think
He was a commie.
Yeah, that's another thing too. People like to think that JFK was a peace lover who was assassinated by this conglomerate of warmongers who wanted to keep the war going. Did you read JFK's foreign policy? He's the guy that practically started the Vietnam War.
I love that
Exactly.
meme that goes. Love that meme that goes around saying that JFK was going to like spill the beans on something big like in the next few days.
Yeah.
It was some quote that they attribute to him, but yet if you search, you cannot find that anywhere except in conspiracy theory literature. Somebody was trolling them.
Oh yeah,
There's also like this executive order, which actually exists, and I forget what the details is, but it has something to do with the Federal Reserve, being more open and transparent about what it's doing or whatever, and they say, oh, he was killed for that. The Fed did it.
Lee Harvey Oswald was working for Marilyn Monroe. I mean, that's quite obvious.
Some say the mob did it. Some say the KGB did it. Some say the CIA did it. It depends on whatever they want.
I think it wouldn't have been anywhere near as bad if Oswald hadn't been murdered a few days later by Jack Ruby.
Well,
that's what a lot of it's behind. It's like, why the heck did he do that?
Well, he was a crazy nutcase. According to people who knew Jack Ruby, he was very active. He had a very strong political opinion, and apparently he was a lifelong Democrat.
Yeah.
That
just adds fuel
real
to
quick.
it. What was Oswald going to say? What was he going to spill the beans on? Okay, Jim, go ahead.
Hey, real quick. We just had Jordan come in on the Q&A. He says he's unable to join the conversation. You can add 5 more people to the Hangout. I think you can have a maximum of 10 in here.
Can I add them from
here?
here?
I love about this is
if they have a Google Plus, you just click. You should have an add button at the top of the screen.
Oh, I have to do it that way. Okay, let's see.
Well, what is it? Where is it? It's
when it comes to conspiracy theories, most of them are pretty benign, but the one that gets me the most is the chemtrail conspiracy. I think those people are really unstable and those are the most dangerous people.
I don't even bother with those people because no matter what you say, no matter how many videos you show how you can easily create a contrail in your own home, they don't believe you.
But I engage them because the things that you see in the sky are not going anywhere, and there have already been cases of chemtrail activists, or slacktivists as the case may be, threatening pilots and weathermen with death. In fact, a group of us has actually just got a group on Facebook banned. It was called Execute All Chemtrail Pilots for Treason.
Good Lord.
Jeez.
Okay,
these people are really dangerous.
Okay, now hold on a second. I was able to invite Blame the First because there's only one of them. But these others, I'm getting like 5 million people with the same name, and I don't know which one it is.
Here's what you do. You have the Q&A open on the right.
Yeah,
I do.
Just Just look for the one that has the same icon.
I tried that, and that's not helping.
Oh, so you're getting a bunch of them.
So you're having tech issues.
I see it.
We're having I don't know what I'm doing issues.
Blame the first said the Monroe conspiracy theory sounds more credible.
But the thing is, a funny thing is, a friend of mine, online TV video reviewer called Rowdy C, aka Chris Moore. I'm gonna have my podcast tomorrow. I'll plug. But he actually did 2 video reviews, basically talking about JFK, the movie JFK, and basically
That's a terrible movie.
he tore that joint apart, and then he actually got into a Quantum Leap episode about him dealing with JFK.
That was a good
dealing with the shooting. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't like anything Oliver Stone makes, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
JFK
But yeah, it's really good, and it's just honestly to do. Like I say, one of my friends who lives in Texas, and he's like, oh gosh, he has to deal with this stuff. Plus the people who believe in conspiracy. Plus the fact he has to deal with this stuff with the Texas governor doing all this stuff about the military trying to take over Texas, even though that'd be completely and utterly stupid.
Yeah, it's like,
You know, the whole thing with the military taking over Texas thing, though, it's kind of believable. I don't know if you've ever been. Last summer, me and the family went to Arizona for vacation, and we went to Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument, which is right on the border of Mexico. We had to go through 3 border crossing checkpoints. We didn't even go into Mexico at all. There was one 70 miles north of the border, one right at the border of the park, which we had to go both in and out. They stopped us on the way out, and then we were on the main route between the park and Tucson, and about 75 miles down the road, we had to go through another one. And in fact, that one they were telling us that we were driving too fast into the thing, and if the sheriff was there, they would have told them to write us a ticket. On those roads in Arizona, the speed limit is like 70 miles an hour, even on the rickety old roads, and they only give you a half a mile to slow down to 25.
That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
It's the police abusing their authority like always.
They need money. That's what it is. It's a whole racket.
They need money.
That's the thing about it.
It's the golden rule.
Yep.
He has gold rules, but honestly, here and actually, my media actually, I love, that's why I really do like going to college and stuff like that. Still little things around I find out in my media writing class. Things you find out is that they one of the reports I actually heard from one of my classmates who was there saying that D.C. is actually getting, D.C. and Maryland is going to have more speed cameras. And you know why they want to have more speed cameras? It's because they need more, more money. Because people are slowing down.
Check this out.
People are actually trying to be more responsible drivers. And
check this out. In Chicago, in the most recent election, we had a runoff between Chuy Garcia and Rahm Emanuel. Chuy Garcia wanted to get rid of all of the red light cameras, and Rahm Emanuel said he was going to get rid of 30 of the red light cameras. And Rahm got rid of 30 of the red light cameras, replaced them all with speed cameras.
Yeah. Oh, hello,
I say
Victor.
get rid of traffic lights altogether.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Victor.
Woohoo.
Victor, not familiar with this guy.
Victor is one of my patrons.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. By the way, Shane, I would
What's all this then?
Oh, okay, so he's one of your patrons. Okay, guten Tag. Yeah. I know a lot of people who don't like swearing on podcasts, so a little joke I do is that if they can only speak English, I swear in another language. Yeah. Particularly German.
You're just full of merde.
Yep.
German swears are the best.
Scheiße, it is good. Then again,
everything sounds like swearing.
Then again,
you're having a barbecue.
Then again, the only German I'm exposed to is Company of Heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun strategy game, but not historically accurate.
Again, what is
media not being historically accurate?
I don't think I'm familiar with Jim actually. Are you another patron or?
Actually, I run another podcast. Actually, I just started up a second one, Side Project Live. It's another libertarian podcast, and me and Shane.
Jim, your last name's Goebel. What do you work for the Nazi propaganda ministry?
No,
like I said, the joke reared its head again.
That's Goebbels.
Oh, yeah. Some say it's Goebel, some say it's Goebbels. I've heard it's Goebbels.
I've heard Gable.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. It's like the German equivalent of the last name Gable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's confused people.
And apparently Hitler was a big fan of Clark Gable.
You know, it's funny is that we my uncle
It's a
did
very
some
interesting
digging in
thing
our family
about,
tree, and it's very possible he may actually be related to Joseph Goebbels. But also, he said he found a tenuous link between us and the company that used to make the Hummel figurines and comedian George Goebel. So there's that.
Wow.
Cool. And speaking of being historically accurate, you know, another guy I know, another internet friend, video producer I know. Yes, I know plenty of them. You know, let's see, Tiger. It's a really cool guy. Hosts a show called Mud ML. He actually released one. It was an old episode, but he says basically, should video games be more historically accurate? Saying that should video games add on, say that when they do World War II or something like that, should they put like swastikas on German planes, or go more further deeper in World War II, like say have like the Allies go into like an internment camp and such,
Yeah.
things like
Or
that.
here's another one.
Wolfenstein 3D was very accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or New Order. Apparently, yeah. Or New Order. Apparently, Wolfenstein New Order thinks that a country no bigger than the size of Texas can conquer the entire world. Look, anyone who knows anything about military strategy says, I don't care what weapons you have, if you do not have the manpower or logistics to support your army, any global world conquest is going to fall. And here's another thing that they forget about. Who's funding the German army? You know, the biggest reason why all empires fail is because eventually you run out of other nations to rob.
Bingo!
You run out of money. You
Yeah.
run out of
Should point out, by the way,
Prizes. I love it.
That's one of my personal favorite with a lot of people who ironically tend to accuse us of being conspiracy theorists. Is I don't know. They basically just seem to assume, well, they're evil. They'll find a way to get it done. You know, common sense, economics, and the like be damned. Because I don't know, potato or whatever.
Yeah.
The thing I love most about the birthers are that, well, Obama was born in another country. I mean, okay, fine, he was born in another country. What are you going to do about it? What can you do about it?
Yeah.
All right,
And
shut
even
up.
more importantly, what difference does it make?
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
I used to be.
And even if they did,
Sadly. Yeah.
I mean, me too. I mean, but you know,
And these are the
thing
same
is
people that
about
wanted
it-
Arnold Schwarzenegger to be president at one time.
Yeah.
Arnold
These-
Schwarzenegger, he's the biggest traitor ever. Yeah, he made all these really good speeches about economics. He admitted that Milton Friedman was a big influence from him. And what did he do when he became governor? He got involved in the Californian economy.
Be
I
fair,
think
he
the
had
reason
a full
why that
Democrat Congress that wasn't working with him at all. So
Yeah. So
his hands
what
were
do you
kinda
do?
tied.
Because it's the people behind. Like I said, it doesn't matter. Even if Ron Paul or anyone else select the presidency, it doesn't matter because you still have the House of Congress and the Senate and everything else doing all the stuff. You know, the Lords and the House of Lords. So it doesn't matter.
That's a sad truth is that even if Ron Paul did win an election, sadly he wouldn't get sadly his dream of trying to turn America into a more less government wouldn't go so well because I mean he would shrink the power of the executive branch, but there's nothing that he can do about the legislative branch or the judicial branch. They're still going to have their guys who are going to vote each other, back each other up with their pet projects, and they're not going to change.
The only thing that's
Sadly,
going to change
majority
is
of Americans don't even know that. They don't know who the judicial
Even
or
more than
the
that,
executive
though,
branch.
there's
Exactly.
also the stuff Stefan Molyneux has gotten into, like noting the conflict of interest. Like, well, I mean, like, say, well, like, for you or me, it doesn't make that much sense to maybe go after, I don't know, like, the orange juice companies or whatever for having 10 cents or whatever it is out of our yearly salary. But, trying to pursue crazy legislation, etc., stuff that might not even work out. But for them, it definitely does when there are millions and millions of profits at stake.
There was actually
Hold on a second. Jordan Colburn is asking me if I invited him to join the hangout, and the answer is I tried to, and I have no idea if it worked or not.
Shane, I've been meaning to say about that. I've been doing this a while for like Hangouts.
Good.
Google is kind of messy. Is kind of crazy with this whole thing.
I know.
They don't notify you when you've been introduced like verbally. You have to go check in your like inbox. So you kind of have to close out the Hangout and then go check in like in your inbox.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I like Google Hangouts. I do like the ideas and everything else. I think once it gets working, it works.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's just way too. They overcomplicated things. And that's why no one uses Google Plus anymore. And that's the whole thing.
Is that I think Hangouts has a better sound quality than Skype ever since Microsoft bought out Skype.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skype can just. I was on Skype and I had to shut down my computer and restart it just to talk to someone on Skype. Because something like your quarter. So I'm like, oh gosh, I had to go restart it and just had to work. Like I said, I don't hate Skype, but sometimes it will completely punch you in the ball.
There was one day where I was just trying to text chat with my other friends, and I swear to the flying spaghetti monster, it kept restarting every time I tried to enter. Like, I would click on it, nothing would happen, so I'd click out, so I click in, it do the whole thing, and it did it, and it finally started working. And what happened after I only texted one word, and it went, Skype's not responding. And then it's like, it's not responding. Do you want to close it? It's like, okay, close it. And then what happens? The box to close Skype's not responding. It's I hate it when that happens.
It's a comedy of errors, my friend. It's a comedy of errors. And Skype wasn't always this bad.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't. But
once again, I blame it on Microsoft taking them over.
Yeah.
Oh, we used to be like professional radio call-in shows would use Skype and get studio quality guests in. Not anymore.
Yeah.
And a quick thing to Fakal, who says, "Hope you weren't reporting me for abuse." Not on purpose, but I don't know what I'm doing here. So I was trying to invite you, but I have no idea.
That's actually really easy to do accidentally.
Okay, Joe, I like the crown and the monocle you got going on there.
That's another good thing
about
Google Hangouts.
Mark's look earlier. Yeah.
If you go on the left-hand side of your screen, there's a button called Google Effects. You guys can click that, and then you can add this crap.
I do it, but the computer I'm on doesn't have a camera, so unfortunately you can't see my pretty face. Yeah.
See, I can be the idiot from my.
Oh yeah.
Why do you hate America?
Now I just have to be able to figure out how to do the filter.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm feeling like more mature.
Yeah.
I wish I remembered more lines from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
Nerds.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been trying. Beep.
I have a
Everything
what the
floats
hell is a
down here. Everything floats down here.
I haven't seen that movie in such a long while.
They're making it into a two-part theatrical
unless its
film.
mass per volume is equal to or greater than that of water. That was a joke. Yeah. Where I don't know the exact math for it, but yeah.
Yeah, since I'm the only Christian here, so.
There you go.
We won't hold that against you then.
The rest of us need like devil horns or something. Do they?
Yeah.
There's actually a devil.
I need hair shaped like noodles because I'm a pastafarian.
Oh, there you go.
Well, not really. I say whatever. I say thank the flying spaghetti monster, thank Allah, thank Quetzalcoatl, thank Odin, or those gods that the pagans used to worship.
My
so many
of Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, you know, even if there is an almighty creator, who's to say it's God? You might die and go to heaven and say, "Hey, where's God?" And then you're going to see Quetzalcoatl and he's going to say, "Who the hell is God?" God, I'm the one who created you and the universe. But I was told that.
Or God is dog backwards. Makes you think.
Hey, I'm doubly evil. I've got devil horns and I'm the Monopoly guy.
Evan's here. Hi, Evan.
Yeah.
The evil capitalist.
Yeah.
Evan's here, and so is Victor. I noticed Victor came in.
Evans.
Hi, I'm not sure if my microphone's working.
Oh, it's working. We can hear you.
Yep. Evans, is he a Patreon or?
Evan is
Evan.
a patron. Yes.
Oh.
Oh, man.
By the way, God help us.
Patrons out there.
You know what? Maybe we should go around and introduce each other.
Okay. I'm going to go left to right along the bottom of my screen here. So, Charles, you want to start?
Hello, I'm Charles Thomas. I go by the online nomenclature Dukes 18. That means no, I'm not Dukes basketball fan or whatever. The reason why I chose that name because it was easy and I like the whole name. I just like the back doing things in the background, that sort of thing. I make videos majority about pro wrestling and video games and rant on my little podcast and whatever Shane lets me rant on his.
All right. Let's see. Going next. Chris.
Yep. No, that was gonna happen.
All right, Chris, your turn.
Oh, okay, so I'm Chris, Hangartner. Good luck pronouncing my last name. I have several accounts online, but I go by the YouTube name 556 Delta Wolf, and on DA I'm called Panzer Fox.
You need that for Charles. That's what you need.
Yeah, but I go by the name of Panzer Fox. Unfortunately, due to lack of proper technology, I don't have any YouTube videos. I don't have the proper editing equipment. Not to mention, I have heard my voice online. It sucks. I need to get a better mic, but I don't. I can't afford it. I'm mostly a writer. I do write stories. I'm actually working on a political thriller novel, but I also write short stories, often involving politics and stuff like that. And I don't have a Patreon account, but I'm thinking of getting one because I'm trying to make a comic strip, which is kind of like a political satire of the world, basically.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called Kelly and Kyle, by the way.
Right. Okay, Evan, you want to go next? Hello, Evan.
I think he muted.
Okay, is he muted? All right, we'll come back to him.
He's got the little microphone thingy with a slash.
Oh, I see it. All right.
Found the background.
Jim, your turn, I guess. Oh, no, wait, Evan. Are you back, Evan? Evan.
Might be trying to fix his microphone.
Okay, we'll come back to him.
Say his name 3 times. Maybe he'll appear out of the computer.
Like
gotta spin around.
which I haven't seen in so long.
All right, your
Haven't
turn,
you seen
Jim.
it?
Jim?
Oh, me next? Everyone else went?
Yep.
Oh, you know what? You're on a different. Everyone's on your side lined up differently than it is on my side.
Yeah, I'm just going how it is on my screen.
I'm Jim Goebel. I'm on YouTube. I got my account is I think under Inky Atari, and also the Side Project Live, which is my main podcast. It's at tsplive.com. It's a libertarian podcast. In fact, me and Shane did a thing at Christmas time. We did a dramatic reading of Harry Brown's A Gift for My Daughter, and you might want to go back and check
on
that.
Your, Thanksgiving
and,
show.
I just launched. Oh, it was my Thanksgiving show. That's right, because Christmas time I was out because I had surgery on my foot, which had to be rebuilt. And I just launched a new podcast called the Pie Factory podcast. It's a classic arcade video game podcast. We're up to episode 3. We just recorded on Tuesday about games we hate. My co-host chose Zaxxon, and I chose Mortal Kombat. So.
And you also expressed an interest in being a Bogosity co-host on occasion.
And as soon as we come back from our hiatus on the Side Project, we're going to get some guests and stuff lined up as well. And I've said, you can come on whenever you'd like as well.
I appreciate it.
In fact, we're going to be changing our time to 6 p.m. on Sunday Central Standard Time. Or normal time.
Oh, you gotta get me on that video game podcast, man. You said Mortal Kombat is horrible. That wounds me, man. That wounds me.
I hate it. I've only ever been able to beat the first guy one time after playing it like 15, 20 times. And wouldn't you know, some son of a bitch comes up, puts a token in the machine, hits 2-player, kills me, and then I'm done. I've never touched the game since.
You wounded me, my friend. You have ruined me.
Yeah, I disagreed with my co-host about Zaxxon. I love that game.
It's evolved a lot since.
All right, Travis, you want to go next?
Anyway.
Sure, why not? Yeah, I generally go by Travis Retriever. Yeah, not a whole lot.
He's a cute little furry.
Yeah, I sort of one of like.
I want to scratch 5 years.
Yeah. Hey, that's my job.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm probably one of the only libertarian furs I know. Oddly enough, most of them tend to have like a feline personas, which, yeah, in retrospect makes a lot of sense, I guess. I mean, I'm on DeviantArt, YouTube, Facebook, etc. And yeah, I'm also a co-host on the Bogosity podcast as well. And yeah, I'll occasionally post journals and stuff on there, basically sharing stuff that interests me. Yeah.
Yeah, he's also one of the few LGBT libertarians.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a lot of LGBT libertarians.
Yeah.
James Perron on Facebook is a good one to follow. He writes for. I've had him on my podcast a few times. He writes for the HuffPo.
Oh yeah, yeah. I you know, it really pisses me off being a bisexual guy because I've been on a lot of LGBT internet groups, and it just baffles me how so many of them are statist, even though the biggest oppressor of homosexuals and gays have been the state. So
absolutely,
I don't know what they're
There's a group called Outright Libertarians that has, I think, just a whole bunch of members.
Oh yeah. Here's actually, speaking of which, here's a funny comment I once saw one gay person say, is that they said we need much more democracy in this world because without it, gays are going to constantly be oppressed. And I said, let's take a look at Russia, for example. You want to know what would happen if Russia was a pure direct democracy? There would not be a single gay in Russia because 74% of the population thinks that homosexuality is wrong. So, yeah, that would kind of shoot you in the foot. So, yeah.
But just because you're a minority,
what always kills me about these people. Like, will say, "Oh well, democracy is good. Democracy, we need more democracy," and who will then, in a few breaths away, say, "Oh well, Americans people are stupid. Oh, they all suck. That's why we need government." It's like, make up your mind, asshole. Make up your mind.
Here's the real crazy thing: is that these people who are supposedly against, who are the majority, it's funny because me as being a Christian, like, how dare you hate gays? I'm like, no, I don't. And it's funny that they will go after Christianity, which sometimes rightly so. I mean, there are stories upon stories about hearing how people who are about my faith and such act like idiots. They act bigoted, and in some cases, people, even though they're in a different color, what have you, they act like they act like, oh man, you're white and you're black too, you're half a Christian, those type of idiots. But when it comes down to the real oppression of minorities, gays, or whatever, the Middle East that do so much horrible things. In fact, they tossed, I think recently, was it Saudi Arabia that tossed the gay people off of a building and killed them? Or what have you? It's one of them.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Wouldn't surprise me. I'm still shocked that the United States is officially on friendly terms with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but
once again, the golden rule.
Yep.
I know, but yet when you and then you have Muslims doing all this type of stuff. Same thing with Charlie Hebdo, and they always seem to go with the they always say, but maybe if you didn't antagonize them, they wouldn't be going off. I'm like, they blame the victim. And I'm like, hold up. If it was like the Westboro Baptist Church or anyone else doing this type of stuff, they would be like guns blazing, Christianity's the evil, everything.
Dogs and cats living together.
Oh yeah. That's sorry.
Yeah, it's just, I don't want to feel like, the whole hate Muslims bandwagon, which sadly a lot of people go on these days. But when you keep
there's some libertarian Muslims out there. A guy I've had on my podcast before, Will Coley. He describes himself as an East Tennessee redneck Muslim. He was converted.
Well,
he started Muslims for Liberty. He's a great guy.
That sounds like a Muslim redneck.
I have to meet him. I got to meet this man.
Friend him and search for Muslims for Liberty on Facebook. Use the number 4 instead of the word 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, yeah, it just bothers me because it's like when Sargon of Akkad did this whole racist. I think he said this thing about this a couple months ago, and I always watch the video. It's amazing. Is that how the UK rape culture, and he said this right there on the video, and it just says, and he straight out says, this is not a Muslim issue, it is a British issue, seeing how you have these Muslim rape gangs basically doing all these horrible things to these young women over in Britain, and yet none of them, including the police officers, didn't do anything because they're afraid to be called racist. I'm like, you can't. This is evil, and yet you're just so afraid by the whole shackles of political correctness.
I hate the whole when people say, nothing good is going to come out of somebody's mouth, and they say, I'm not a racist, but the problem with that is that we've become so politically correct that anything can be taken as racism or sexism or whatever, and you just got to cross your T's and dot your I's.
Yeah, you just
and they
terrifies me.
They pick and choose who's okay to mock. Like you said, if you're a white Christian, go ahead and mock them all the way. But if you're like a black Muslim, don't you dare insult them, or else you're a racist. It's like
our black Christians, some of them would sadly. There's some. Sometimes I look in the black church and it is just the horror stories, and no one talks about that.
What's hilarious is I used to go to when I was a Christian. I went to a church, and we had this black family there. They were from Haiti, and the stereotype, black people, Democrats love Jesse Jackson, the whole 9 yards. These people were so conservative that they made Rush Limbaugh look like Ted Kennedy.
There are a lot of some black people out there. It's just that they get drowned out. Or they get that look of like, you're so shuffling for the white man. I'm like, so on one hand, people saying black people are not monolith. They say, well, I got this over this. Oh, you have to vote for the same people. I'm like, huh? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, I know the Republican Party isn't perfect. In fact, they're completely incompetent, idiotic, bigoted. Insert bad word here, but at least go for a third party and such, or go out with someone else, because like we have to vote for.
If you keep telling people I know that are Democrats, like, you know what, and they're like, we want this, and this, and I'm like, you know what, vote for the Green Party because they believe everything you do, and you're being betrayed by the Democrat Party that's already out there. So
it's like
they take the vote for granted.
People like the devil that they know.
They're all there. Good grief.
That's why I haven't.
Victor has been waiting very patiently, so I think we need to give him the microphone let us introduce himself.
Oh, no worries.
Huh?
Patty Cathy's.
Yeah, Evan came back too, by the way, I think.
Yeah, I saw that. He's going after
there. Yeah. Hi, Evan. Welcome back.
Yeah,
sorry, it's pretty shitty over here at the moment.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear from Victor, then we'll hear from Evan.
I've been listening to the podcast a lot. I haven't been on the forums that much because I'm not really much of a forum person. I usually listen to them a lot when I'm like drawing, because I'm a comic artist right now.
Oh,
and,
cool.
Yeah.
You were saying that earlier.
Do you take commissions?
Not right now. I'm like the problem with me when I'm like writing stories is that I write them like 5 chapters at once. So I'm thinking, I'm gonna develop all these 5 characters who don't appear until 5 years later in this story.
Best to get an early start, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to outsource some help right now, and I'm and all that. I've mostly been studying at UConn right now, just like going to university and doing I'm an economics major, so economics and math major.
Oh, one of those, huh?
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, man. Going to college. Let me tell you something.
That would be. Oh, sorry.
College, and I know there's some smart people, and I met some very smart and interesting people my age and younger in college, but my goodness, some of them are just too ignorant. They're dumb. They don't know what the rest of the world is. I actually
don't have to tell me twice. I mean,
I tried to do. This is for my media class. I just want my second article story before I decided to do. Basically saying, how Coach K from Duke University is the king of college basketball, whatever. I actually tried to do something meaningful. I wanted to do something meaningful. I'm like, I'm going to do something meaningful. I'm going to talk about the presidential election since Maryland, we're next to Washington, D.C. I said, let's go try to do something like that. So I asked some people around. I said, do you know about Ted Cruz? And we'll talk about Ted Cruz, what you think about him, and anything else. I said, no, I never heard of Ted Cruz. Like, that's one guy. And 2 more, 3 more, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm like, I just kept asking, and it's just like it's the same thing. No, I don't know who Ted Cruz is. No, I don't know who Ted Cruz is. I don't know what everything else is. I don't know what the Republican Party. Oh goodness gracious.
Oh yeah, and I'm going back to college as not being the best one. You know, I mean, a lot of people. I've actually met a lot of statists and communists who say I know about economics because I went to college. But here's the thing: one of my friends went to college and he did take an economics course, and guess what they had? Paul Krugman. Almost all the books they read were by Paul Krugman, and he actually flat out said, "Can't we listen to other guys? You know, like Milton Friedman?" And the college professor flat out said, "I'm not familiar with Milton Friedman. Who was he again?"
What?
Yeah, it's like we can't.
I keep thinking back. I keep thinking to. You were saying about going to college. I keep thinking I can't get it out of my head on SpongeBob SquarePants. The character Plankton. Whenever he gets defeated, you can't defeat me, Krabs. I went to college.
College is nothing these days. You know, my honest opinion, going to college is the most overrated thing people say you should do, because I know plenty of people who have gone to college. They went there for 4 or 6 years. They spent a lot of money, and they're working jobs that most people could do out of high school.
12 years to pay back my loans.
Yep.
I'm still paying mine.
You know,
I didn't go for the full 4. I dropped out after 2.
Yeah.
You know, the most bizarre thing actually happened.
Go ahead.
The most bizarre thing actually happened. We got for one of my classes, we read an article by Paul Krugman, and I agreed with him for once. And I was like, "What the hell is going on? Is the world shaking?" Because he was talking about like the wages in like outsourcing work to like India, like paying less for the wages there. And he was saying like how that's better than how that would be better than nothing, and you don't. It makes no sense to take away their jobs. And I'm like, have I gone into an alternate universe where?
No, that's what he got his Nobel Prize for. Was international trade theory.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's that because actually that is a good idea because eventually, you know, you can be. That means it frees up people for doing other things, you know. Because there was a lot of you know, people say, oh, you need to go that 9-to-5 job, which sadly, like say they like, you know, when people, you know, who you do what you're doing, Shane, you know, you're on the freelance stuff on YouTube and whatever, and you know, producing stuff. You know, I do it as a hobby, but when I, you know, because I keep hearing the same thing, like, oh, you should get a real job. I'm like, I had a real job, and even though I like landscaping, which I did landscaping and such. You know what happened in 2008 and 2009? The economy tanked, and there it goes. It went away. Bye-bye. Bye-bye stability. Bye-bye. People
Landscaping,
still.
a.k.a. a gardener.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to try and see how this Q&A thing works, because we have Thakal, who I tried to invite, and I have no idea if it worked or not, but Thakal says, I'm LGBT libertarian too, and also says, let's see what happens when I do this. And I'm Thakal, a name I gave myself back 20 years ago. I'm doing a startup video game company.
Oh, good.
That sounds cool. Welcome, Thakal. I wish there was a way I could get you in there. See, that's what I want to do. When someone asks a question, I want to bring them on the camera and talk to them about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a fireside chat.
Yeah.
Only less socialist.
I know it can be done, although now that I think about it, and I'm not sure if it was Hangouts, but there have been cases where I've seen things like with Gary Johnson, and someone would type in a question, the question would appear on the screen, and then Gary Johnson would have him come up, you know, kind of like you'd have like the 2 separate windows there. Maybe that wasn't Hangouts,
in fact,
maybe that was something else.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute. I think Revision 3 did this as well. When, you know, the YouTube review thing, Revision 3, made by the same people, G4, that video game channel, they actually did something like that before they shut down, too, which is a shame, because that was a pretty good YouTube channel before they went away. But, yeah, and, you know, video game stuff, I like more people should be into it. You know,
apparently Thakal went to UAT as well. I'm not quite sure what that acronym is. UAT.
Sadly, too many video game companies are anti-capitalist these days. I mean, here's a good drinking game. Drink every time the main villain of a video game is an evil corporation.
Or an old white dude.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think that's so much bias or anything. I just think evil corporations are easier to write.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So basically lazy rioting, possibly.
Yeah,
Well,
like
not
the order of
necessarily lazy
1886.
writing. It's not really lazy writing when you rely on a formula or a trope or something. It means you're just focusing on other aspects of the story.
Oh yeah, and here's another thing that really ticks me off about some video games is there was a conversation I had with a friend, and it was all about the censorship of the swastika in video games, and I was talking to people saying, why do you get so angry over just like a little weird looking cross? And they said, but do you have any idea what the Germans did back in World War II? And I'm like, yeah, but here's the thing: the hammer and sickle for the Soviet Union is allowed, and do you have any idea what the Soviets did to their POWs?
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Soviet Union killed twice as many more innocent people than the Nazis did, and yet they're allowed a freebie because they won?
Oh, and here's another
Victor
thing. If you
justice.
really want to be technical, what about the Japanese flag? Yeah, how many more horrors did they have? Well,
the Japanese. There's actual accounts where they would give rice that was laced with smallpox to Chinese villagers. They did that.
Baton Death March? Anyone?
Oh yeah.
This is what gets me about people railing against the Confederate flag. It stood for slavery. It stood for slavery. Yeah, you know what other flag did as well? The American flag.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
I think you can go the British flag as well. You can talk to British flag, Russian flag, all flags throughout the country, all the world. Once upon a time.
Except Haiti.
Yeah, Haiti.
The Illinois flag.
Haiti is the only flag you can find not being racist.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, Haiti was the only one. Actually, was from an escaped slave, right? I think they actually.
And here's another thing, going back to the whole slave issue. I actually saw a professor of history who kept insisting, oh yeah, the Confederacy, the Civil War was all about slavery. And guess what he used as proof? A statement from one of the states that said, oh yeah, we support slavery and all, but it was just one state. Not to mention,
it's like 5 states said that their reason for seceding was slavery, and then I think Texas was a mix of slavery and
Texas
the
was
Northern
pressured
aggression.
to join. From what I've heard, Texas really didn't really want to join, but they were pressured to join them. And here's another thing that forgets, and they always ignore the elephant in the room. 4 of the states that fought for the Union were slave states.
Yeah.
And also you had...
Have you ever actually read the Emancipation Proclamation? It did not free the slaves in the South. It freed the slaves that were not in the border states, and all of the counties along the Mississippi River all the way down to New Orleans. It wasn't just the border states. It was a bunch of counties in the South as well that we had already captured or that had Northern sympathies.
Well, it freed the slaves in the states that were rebelling, except for the parts that were taken back under Union control. So basically,
right. I'm sorry, I had that mixed
they didn't have the power to.
Yeah. Not to mention, another thing that's forgotten about is the Fugitive Slave Act. That was still enforced during the Civil War.
True.
But you also had, what I was saying earlier was you also had, like, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, I think a couple others. They met earlier in the year to debate whether they should secede because of slavery, and they decided not to. It was only after the Northern aggression started, then they went back and said, okay, should we secede because of Northern aggression? And then they said yes.
Yep,
I think it was because of Fort Sumter. Wasn't it because of Fort Sumter, the South attack?
Fort Sumter, yeah.
It's funny. People like to say, but the South started the war by attacking Fort Sumter. Yeah, you want to know why they attacked Fort Sumter? Because it was good. Because the North was planning to use it as a front for a potential invasion of the South.
Well, and A, it was in South Carolina, and B, you have to go past Fort Sumter to get to the port of Charleston, and they wanted to collect the tariffs, and they were going to stop all the ships there and force them to pay the tariffs to the Union, even though they were coming into the port of Charleston.
Oh yeah,
sounds like a complete mess. I remember I've heard you Shane, say before that basically anyone who says that there was one single cause, one single reason for the Civil War is automatically wrong.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Because I write a lot of political and military, fics, and all that, and I read a lot about war. And one thing I have learned, and it's sad because I always get accused of being a Nazi sympathizer when I discuss World War II, but I tell people, look, I don't support the Nazis. I'm just saying that contrary to what we see in movies, there was no, good guys versus bad guys in World War II. The Allies did things which were just as bad as the Nazis.
Yeah.
I mean, Japanese concentration camps.
Concentrations
of Japanese people by off the cock off.
German
let's see
Americans
if
were
we can
put
hear
into
from Evan.
internment
I
in
don't
the
know.
U.S.
Oh yeah,
Don't hear
Germans
about
and
that.
Italian Americans. Yep, and they still haven't been acknowledged.
All right, I'm trying to see if we can hear from Evan. Are you there,
Yes,
Evan?
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I
Thank
can
you
hear
for
you.
being patient.
Woohoo!
Yep. Yay,
Yeah,
patient.
sorry about that. I had to tunnel through not using a VPN just to get a decent connection because of how terrible it is over here.
Where are you
Where
from?
are you?
Where are you from? You sound like you're from the UK or Australia.
New Zealand.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
New Zealand,
The
yeah,
50
Oh,
New
that's
hours
Zealand.
right.
flight.
You're my New Zealand guy. My very
Yeah.
first patron.
Oh, New Zealand. Yeah, that's the black stepchild that Australia doesn't like to mention because I see so many Australians that like to brag about how we're a peaceful society because we got all these tough regulations on businesses and strict gun control. And then one person pointed out, yeah, and New Zealand is doing just as well, and they don't have all those laws.
Yeah, New Zealand is really high up on the index of economic freedom.
I think
I
it's
don't get in
higher-
Australia how they force everybody to vote. That is scary
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, vote or die, motherfucker.
All right, so
I
tell
won't
us
vote
about
for
yourself,
anybody I
Evan.
don't know anything about.
All right, I'm going to start muting people. Tell us about yourself, Evan.
Well, I tend to just meander here and there. I fix computers in real life as one of my jobs, and for most of what I do online is just arguing about whatever, really.
That's the fun part. Well, you probably noticed with this crowd, you kind of have to jump in whenever you get a chance, so don't be shy, okay?
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
This is what dinner at my house is like.
Oh God.
Well, not mine. We just mostly when it's we argue when it's family occasions. Well, when Easter or
Christmas.
Christmas and such. Oh, you should have been there for the Thanksgiving barn burner about how Michael Brown and Eric Gardner and everything else. That was a fun thing. I was like, oh goodness, yeah. It's just we argue, but I think it's just it's crazy, but man, it's I don't know, it's fun sometimes, but it's sometimes just it's annoying because I just want to go hang out with the family, but yet one stupid topic or something, and then the real world comes in, you just gotta yell about it.
Oh yeah, there's stuff that happens all the time in this world that just makes me want to facepalm. Oh, we lost Travis.
I was wondering who we lost. Oh, there he is. He's coming back.
Yes.
Oh, we lost him.
By the way, the one thing I look upon is interesting about wars and stuff like that. Is how the Revolutionary War. To me, it's actually very interesting because they always see that America was. The more history I look upon it, so it was close. It was really close to how America could have fallen. It would have been really close how it could have George Washington, even though he was a great general, didn't have troops. He didn't have strong military. I mean, he had to change tactics to a point that, in fact, the only good military strategy the only good thing they did was actually retreating, which I don't know. He said this is the best thing they ever did, retreating. He said, I think one of the generals said, quote, I've never seen an army retreat as well as this one.
Yeah.
Well, at least it wasn't
And here's another thing people forget about the Revolutionary War. I get so tired about how people portray, King George, I think it was King George III, about how he was portrayed like this tyrannical tyrant. The fact of the matter is, from what I can gather, he didn't really care about the American colonies. It was British Parliament we were mad at.
Yeah,
and the real anger,
Yeah.
and the real anger we were mad at with King George III wasn't that he was a tyrant. It's that we were telling him, look, King George, your Parliament is oppressing us, even though we are technically British citizens. You got to do something, and he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them
Yeah, it's in the same position as Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Puerto Rico. I think it was France actually was the first ones actually to really help us. Which, funny enough, even though France helped us out in the Revolutionary War, guess what? Guess how we still have this huge love for? Great Britain. I'm like, wait a minute. How do we basically bash France for every little thing under the sun when we look at the Empire of Britain with such fallenness?
France
was not like that. It was not like that for the better part of a century. They hated Britain for like decades even after the War of 1812 was over. It was still just no one liked Britain.
I remember reading somewhere it wasn't until after World War I that the United States and the UK finally managed to solve their differences together because I mean, because even as early as the 1900s, the U.S. and the U.K. had some rivalries. Like there was a very notorious example in the I think it was the 1904 and 1910 Olympics.
Raiding the icebox. Raiding the icebox. My dad actually has this thing that says he actually had the plan. Like there was a Washington Post article. It actually showed what was called raiding the icebox. I wish I could find it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, going back to my comment, during the Olympics, there was actually a rather famous incident where apparently the British judges there were apparently rigging the events, so the Americans their scores were downplayed. Yeah, there was an actual incident where there was a race going on, and there was this Italian guy. He suffered heat exhaustion, and he was escorted to the front row, and they declared that he was the winner, even though the guy behind him, who was an American, was clearly made it to the front line on his own accord, and that was actually quite controversial, because the Italian guy, while he was technically first, he was assisted.
Are you having fun, Travis?
Yeah, I finally got this damn app to work. I was messing with it for a while forever, but none of the things appeared.
Oh yeah, the biggest question, because I'm a furry too, the biggest question I hate the most is people always ask, do you have a fursuit? And I say no because of two reasons. One, they're very, very expensive. Two, actually three reasons. Two, they're very, very hot. And three, I personally find them ugly and creepy.
Yeah.
Can someone please define for me exactly what a furry is?
Someone that likes dressing up.
That's the $1 million question. Even us furries don't know how to answer.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it defined so broadly that since I'm a fan of Bugs Bunny cartoons, that makes me a furry.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Beavis and Butthead. What does that make me?
I mean, I have no idea.
You don't want me to answer that question, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Beavis.
The method I usually use is the person represents themselves online, like say using a anthropomorphic character, like for example, then usually I'll just say, okay, then that person's a furry. I mean, that's the way I do it. I mean, of course, pretty much all bronies are furries, but I mean, close enough. I mean,
surprisingly, even though they're similar, there's a big rivalry between the furry and the brony community. No joke, when I posted
not really. It depends on what you ask.
When I posted a story on FimFiction called "The Question Wars: Rise of Carthage," which is about this fictional Nazi German-like country that's dominated by humans and anthropomorphic animals, there were so many comments saying I like your story, but god damn it, what's with the furries?
Have you ever?
And then when I bring up I'm a brony on places like FA or Soul Furry, they're like, "You're a brony? Come on, dude! Those guys are ruining everything."
Oh, God,
Something you just said, bro. Have you ever played them? Have you ever played what was it?
That's a problem. Fandoms ruin everything.
Oh yeah, I tell that to people all the time. I mean, fandoms. Almost any fandom out there can kind of ruin it. I mean, I know people who are casual fans of anime that hate the otaku culture because every time I watch my favorite anime, all I can think about is some weird 30-year-old guy dressed up like a schoolgirl. I can't do it anymore.
There was an episode of South Park I saw last week where the emo kids were being the goth kids were being transformed into emos, so they got with the vampire kids to stop the people from being turned into emos.
Yeah,
All right, guys, I'm sorry. I feel like we just got started, but it's 8 o'clock, so we have to wrap this up.
No, it's not. It's 7. I'm in normal standard time.
It's always past midnight.
I gotta get back to writing.
It's nice meeting all you guys.
All right.
Nice meeting you.
Just one more thing to Fakal there. Add me on Google Plus, and then I'll know exactly who you are. And next time, I'll hopefully be able to invite you and get in here. I think that's the thing. I think they have to be in my circles. Is how it works.
Yeah, probably.
I think you can also. I don't think they even have to be on Google Plus as long as they have a Gmail account, because I know you can send invites through Gmail.
Okay. So we'll definitely do this again, and hopefully now that I know a little more about what I'm doing, it'll be better.
Hopefully we can do it.
I'm gonna go get my kids to bed, and then spend the rest of my evening with someone who looks a lot better than you, Mugs. Okay?
All right.
Do you have a special lady friend?
Oh yeah.
I don't have a fursuit yet. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I totally would have worn it.
All right.
Well, off to play my South Park game.
Okay.
South Park?
Have fun.
To go draw.
Stick of truth.
All right.
Oh, I have that. Oh, I have that
Stick of
game.
truth.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks to the patrons. Thanks to the co-hosts. Thanks to everyone else. This is
Okay.
me signing out.